Hey, sunflowers. We're gonna get started in a second. Just finding things I need. Yeah, but we'll get started in just a moment. Thank you, everybody, for being here so far. We're getting ready to get started. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody who needs a link has a link to the live. So I'm just taking a few seconds to get that done. But while I'm doing that, for all of you who are a part of the chat, how are you doing tonight? First of all, hey Travis, hey Scarlet System, I should say. Hey Bree, and Kenya. Hi, sweetie. It's been like 30 years since we've seen each other. Oh my God, it's been so long. But to everybody else who may be in the chat, welcome. Thank you for being here. Just give me, like I said, just a few seconds. I'll get back. I'll get on camera in just a second. I just want to make sure that everyone is able to get in here. But yeah, let me finish this part. Man, today was a long but happy day of doing what I expected to do nothing, and I didn't do nothing. I actually did more than I wanted to do today, but you know, it is what it is. It has been too long, and thank you so much. Hey, Diane! And I'm glad you're doing good, Bree. I love you. And thank you for asking. My B-Day, I think I answered that, but my B-Day is going great. I'm having a great day. Sending this to one more group of people. And then the life of a content creator, yo. Constantly on your phone, making sure that you're connecting with people. And it's weird for me because I actually am not big on social media like that. But I figure if I'm going to be, a public, I don't know if that's the right word, but a public figure, I kind of gotta, do it. But I'm about to turn my camera on. And I have to turn my camera on, guys, because I have to show you some stuff. Okay, so everybody should have links now, so I think we're good. So if all who are going to join, hey, welcome. All right. We are great. We just welcomed a new. Oh, yeah, you're going to have to tell me about that later. You have to tell me about that later. Hopefully I'm not on here too long. Also, can y'all still hear the music? And if you can, is it too loud? If you can't hear the music, I'll turn it up if you want me to. Okay, I think we should be good now, y'all. I can turn my camera on. Bree, I gotta put you to work. I need you to be my moderator, okay? Okay, so let's change over. But yeah, can y'all hear the music? No music, just your voice. The music is soft. Do y'all want to hear music? I don't mind putting on some music in the background. I normally don't. But if y'all want a little bit of music in the background, I have no problem with that. Oops. I'm not doing this with you, Diana. And honestly, I would play Michael, but, copyright is a thing. And I eventually do want to, get this channel monetized, and I might do it. I might risk it. Okay, fine, Bree. I might risk it, but I'm gonna wait till later. Because I want to go ahead and get into this. I'm already behind whatever your heart desires. I mean, yes, my heart desires that, but my wallet also desires to be monetized at some point. So trying to, put myself in the best position possible to get, some payment on this channel. I want to, actually see the see the hard work literally and quite literally pay off. So anyway, hey everybody. I just twisted my hair too, so ha. I did things today. Anyway, hey everybody. And hey sunflowers, welcome again to another episode of BPD Squared Live. As usual, I'm excited and grateful to have each and every one of you here tonight, especially because I don't know if everybody knows, but today is my birthday. Yay me. Yay birthdays. So today I'm celebrating 35 years. I'm extremely grateful. Oh, thank you. I'm extremely grateful, extremely happy to see another year of growth and another year of growth and gratitude and just learning and living. So, yeah. Thank you, dear. It and I know most people are like, oh, what's it feel like to be 35? It feels like it did yesterday when I was 34. It is what it is. Pretty sure I'll feel it in a couple of months, but today I just feel grateful and happy. So yeah, there's that. So tonight, to get into the point, I did want to kind of cover some things with you guys. Vegan hugs until I said, shut up, Nani. I do want to quickly get into tonight some things that, I felt were important for me, period, and just to share with you guys. One is, I want to just talk about what I'm learning about, being grateful and how, I'm learning to, you better be. I'm learning how to just, accept life as it comes and be grateful for what is around and what's available, as well as I wanted to share with you guys my diagnosis story. I know that's kind of a weird thing to want to talk about on your birthday, but I figured it would be good to share the story because plenty of people out there are aware of what, these diagnoses are, and, they might have an idea of, what goes on within the diagnosis. But I know a lot of people are also concerned about how do you even know to get to a point that you may need a diagnosis in the first place. So I felt that it would be, beneficial to somebody to hear it from a personal perspective of what it was like discovering that I needed to get a diagnosis. So yeah, with that, we're going to get into tonight's live. Thank you, my sis. I love you, Pooh. And so I'm so lucky. I got my whole family in the chat. Yes, y'all are awesome. I love y'all. So as usual, for those who are new to this channel and have not been a part of the flower garden of BPD Squared, hey, good evening. Hey, Sunflower. And my name is Brenda. And again, welcome to BPD Squared. So on this channel, we talk about mental health. We talk about mental health topics, mental illnesses, XYZ that has to do with that whole aspect, as well as my experiences dealing with bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder. With that being said, I do just that. I share my experiences, but I'm only speaking from a place of what I've lived through and what I've learned as I've been dealing with these diagnoses for the past 4 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a licensed practitioner or a medical professional in any way. So anything that I share on this channel is purely just in conversation and just me sharing my experience. Nothing that I share with you today should be taken as therapeutic or psychiatric advice because number one, I'm not licensed to do that. And number two, I wouldn't even know how to advise anybody in that way because that is not something that I have experience in. So, like I said before, what I can and will do on this channel is share my experiences with BPD and bipolar disorder and the things that I learned along the way as I learn how to navigate these diagnoses. Also, I want to make it clear that this channel is all about helping others. However, like I said before, I do not have the means to help you in a way that is medical or therapeutic. So if you check the description box, or the flower box, I like to call it, below, there is a link to a page on my website that lists a bunch of resources that you can use if you or a loved one is experiencing a mental health crisis. There's different sources you can choose from. There's veterans, there's LGBTQIA, there is for the deaf, there's for people who only speak Spanish. There's also a database on there. So if you are in a specific town and you're not really sure where to find local help, there is a database there to help you locate those places so that you or your loved one can get the help that you need and deserve. And finally, the experiences that I share on this channel are more than likely at times going to be triggering to some. Some topics that I discuss have to do, like even tonight, I want to issue a trigger warning because this is going to be some heavy stuff that I'm talking about for some people. So I do want to make it clear that this channel does talk about heavy stuff. It is a mental health channel. So I do talk about things that may be triggering and uncomfortable for people. So with that being said, I try my best to make you aware of when those topics come up or when those moments come up within my videos, so that way you and I can help you protect yourself. However, I do leave after each live. I try my best to post timestamps on the video so that way you know what I'm talking about and at what time. So in case you do need to check out and take care of yourself and come back and watch the rest later, you're able to do that. So now that I got all that out the way, let's get into just regular talking, just me sharing with y'all. I don't have a presentation tonight. Like I said, I'm kind of going off the dome again, like I did last week, and I just want to share just personal things with you guys. So, like I said earlier, the first thing I want to mention with you guys is gratitude and just being grateful for life in general. And I wanted to share this, especially with, family, in the sense that, a lot of us get to this point where we're not really sure what it is we're expected to do in this life. We're not really sure what it is, where we're supposed to go and how things are supposed to be. And with that, I realized the more I just ask for what it is I wanted and then just let it go and let it be, the more I was like, I started to see how life played out for me in a way that I wanted it to. I didn't realize how important, some people call it scripting, but really it's just journaling. And I've learned for myself, when I journal and I get those thoughts out of my head, it clears me into a way that I'm able to function a lot better. But also when I write down the things that I truly want and I'm truly searching for, they most often come true. So this is a brief section. Like I said, just want to say that when it comes to gratitude, it's also being aware of just what it is you truly want in your life. And I've been asking for certain things that I truly, truly want. And I've been seeing things play out for me in such a positive way that I can't help but just take a moment to really be thankful for it. Just like tonight, just having you guys here, having the love and sharing this day with you guys is something I wanted and I asked for. Man. And it's also just me being in a place of recognizing, hey, I asked for this, and recognizing that this is exactly what I asked for, and being open to realizing, you know what, just because I asked for it, and it may not always come the way you want it to, but you're going to get what you asked for. You know what I mean? Like, I talk about it all the time. I talk about me working with Pour Me Perfection and how my initial point, I wrote in my notebook, I said, I want to work a certain type of job. I wanted to work from home. I wanted to just do like back office work. I wanted to only work with one person. I only want to report to one person, and I want to do this, this, and this. And it was so interesting because hi. And it was so interesting because as soon as I wrote those things down, I had a conversation with them, and they were like, we're kind of interested in bringing somebody on board that can do this. And I was like, and there it is. It took a couple months, but it's there. Hey, Chanel, I'm so happy to see you. Good evening. And Jason, hey. And I apologize, I'm going off the names I see on the screen. I don't know if that is how you want to be referred to. I'm just going off the names on the screen, so you can correct me if you want to. But yeah, y'all, I just wanted to quickly share that. I hope that made sense to somebody. That, I'm truly grateful that I made it this far. I'm truly grateful because also now here we go with the trigger warnings, and I'm just being honest with everyone. 2 years ago, I didn't plan on having a 35th birthday. So I am grateful that I was given a chance to see that and to just take it one more day, not even take it one day at a time, but just grateful that I listened when Spirit, Universe, God said, take one more day after this. Okay, take a couple more days. And actually, I take that back. That wasn't 2 years ago. That was almost a year ago that I was not going to see 35. This was November for sure. Like, it was, interestingly, after my birthday last year, I kind of went into a downward spiral and just really, really felt like I wasn't meant to be here anymore. And then things started to kind of happen. And it's so interesting because it's like, I laugh at myself about it now. I don't know. I hope, it's funny for me because it's my situation. It was funny to me that, I was like, I'm planning to unalive, but at the same time, I'm also wanting to make sure that I'm aware, there for my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, I still got to show up for work, but I don't plan on being here tomorrow anyway. Like, it's just funny to me how my brain was working at the time, which probably also speaks to the fact that it wasn't a matter of wanting to unalive. It was just more of a matter of needing that drastic change and having something to come in and drastically push me into that direction. But yeah, I'm grateful. I've made more friends. I've made more connections. I've become more open with myself. This is something I've wanted to do, but this is something that completely terrifies me. And I mean being live with you guys. I love doing it because it's a lot easier, but it's terrifying. Because it's anything can happen. And but at the end of the day, I'm grateful that I decided to take those risks on things that I truly wanted. Not just taking risks for the sake of taking risk on things that I truly wanted. And like I said, everything has been working out for the best, even in the bad moments. Like I had some bad news yesterday. Even in the bad moments, I can still look back and say, you know what, this is the grace in the situation. Like, matter of fact, yesterday got some bad news, and I mentioned in the title of this video too, I talk about disappointment. So one of my biggest triggers is disappointment and guilt. Especially, so that's one of the things that people with BPD deal with. And it's a 100% thing that I deal with constantly. Disappointment and guilt are my biggest triggers. And my biggest thing is, of course, I know all too well what disappointment is like. So for me to ever be put in a position or put someone else in a position where they are now disappointed, that kills me. That crushes me. I don't ever want people to be in that situation that I've experienced. I don't ever want to put anybody in that, especially intentionally on purpose. So, but even in that situation, even with getting bad news, there was still grace in the situation. There was still understanding and love and support. And interestingly, I think that hurt me even more, though. I think that's what hurt the most too, because my thing is, I really don't want to hurt someone, especially someone that has genuinely shown they care about me. I feel like the worst thing I could possibly do to anyone that cares about me is to ever let them down or to lower their expectations of me. So what I can say I'm grateful for about that, though, is I can honestly say, if this was last year, if that situation would have happened, I would have been a danger to myself. Knowing that I've hurt someone, knowing that I cost somebody something, would have sent me into a spiral of self-harming. It would have sent me into a spiral of wanting to just sleep continuously. And it just would have affected me negatively mentally, and probably even ruined the remainder of the relationship that I had with that person. So I'm able to look at myself now, and I'm trying not to cry, but I'm able to look at myself now and accept that I'm hurting because I feel guilty. I'm able to accept the guilt and still say and still see, yes, it's fine. And it hurts. And you're going to feel this for a few days too. You're going to feel it for a few days. But at the same time, you're able to see the love, you're able to see the grace, and you're able to realize that there's forgiveness here. And if the other party can forgive you, it's okay to forgive you as well. So I'm just happy to have lived through what I've lived through in order to get to a point where I can have those conversations with myself and be able to give myself that love and respect. So yeah, there's that. Also, I'm trying to moderate myself, and I'm looking on my phone. Can y'all see me? Can y'all see me, or do you only see like, hold on, because my phone is being weird right now. Oh, you can see me. Okay, never mind. I was going to ask if y'all could see me because my camera was my phone was being weird and I couldn't actually see myself for a second. So anyway, we're good. We're here. Okay, cool. RS. I'm not sure who RS is, but I love you. Thank you for being here. So yeah, I like I said, I just wanted to share that with y'all very quickly. So that's my gratitude moment, as well as just kind of explaining that, and being vulnerable and open with you guys so that, yeah, that's my biggest trigger is guilt. Okay, cool. Glad you could seize me. Seize ya. So I do want to get into the my diagnosis story because it is a very long story. Well, at least I'm gonna try my best not to make it a long story, but y'all know me, I'm long-winded. I'm sorry. So okay, cool. Thank you, Jason. But yeah, this was. I got to remember 2019 is 4 years ago, right? So y'all forgive me if I have old lady brain. I will remember it to the best of my ability, but a lot of it still lives vividly in my mind. But yeah, so We're in 2019. Uh, I'm working at a vet clinic as a veterinary technician. And I want to say, and it's interesting, it was around this time that year too. No, 2018, actually. This was 2018. So it was around this time that year as well, because I remember it was going into November. Child, when they say seasonal depression, they ain't playing. Anyway, but yes, so it was probably late October, early November. I started to get these feelings and just started to feel really off. Everything was annoying me. I was starting to get light sensitivity. I was having trouble sleeping. I was starting to have more and more intrusive thoughts. I kept hearing these voices telling me negative things about myself. And I just remember going to work after a while. I was very depressed. And I just stopped caring about myself. I stopped caring about my appearance. I stopped caring about my hygiene for the most part. I just didn't care for a while. And it was apparent because my coworkers looked at me and they were kind of like, okay, yeah, what's going on? Because you're going to need to do something about that. It's not good. And I wanted to, but I really didn't know what was going on. I just remember I went out to dinner with some friends and I just remember crying the whole time because I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I feel this way, and I don't know what's happening to me right now. So fast forward a few months, like I said, I'm just been in this downward spiral, this slump, this depression. And in January or late January, there was a person that started working at the clinic, and the way that they operated was just very disturbing to me. And they just had a very nasty demeanor. And it's not the kind of blatant mean, because I can take blatant mean, but this person was the kind of person that tried to mask their nastiness by soft tones and, well, that's exactly what I mean, those kind of people. It was sickening. So dealing in that situation, that just sent me even more over the top of a spiral. And I just started feeling myself break down and just feel completely gone. And my coworker at the time was also going through some mental stuff. And I remember going to therapy with them and listening to their story and being able to express themselves to the therapist. And I started breaking down myself because I'm just like, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to get this out of my system, but I don't know how. And I don't really remember what I started exhibiting as far as symptoms wise to get to this point. But I do remember that I was just feeling so bad. And again, like I said, I was harming myself again. And so my coworker has suggested, okay, go to my therapist, go talk to her and see what happens. And so go to the therapist, and I expressed to her, yeah, I'm feeling really bad. I feel as if I want to hurt myself. I feel I want to hurt others. I just want to hurt things because I'm hurting and I don't understand how to get rid of it. And so with me expressing that I was in a place of feeling that I could harm myself and others, she suggested that I go to a hospital. And I remember agreeing, but I also know that I wasn't really there when I agreed to this. So this is where I got flashes of the memory now. What I remember is her saying, I think you should go and get checked out at a hospital. I remember, I don't even remember getting there. All I remember after that was me cowering in a corner because I was just terrified of everything that was going on. I felt like a 3-year-old child. I felt like a child. And I was in a corner just crying profusely. Like, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be touched. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. It's very bright in here. It's very white in here. It's just overwhelming. And then after that moment, I just remember waking up kind of drug high. I just remember waking up kind of high and talking to someone on a like iPad type of thing, like they do, what's it called? Telehealth kind of thing. So I was doing a video chat with someone via telehealth and they gave me fluids. I do remember that. And they kept me there for about 12 hours or so. And then I ended up going home. I do remember going home, but still just feeling off, just terrible. And they told me to go to what is it called? It was another type of facility, but I think it was like this, the person I was supposed to go see was supposed to assess me, basically. Excuse me, I'm gonna drink some water real quick. I think the person I was going to was supposed to assess me. I don't remember what it was actually called, but she basically, tells you what's wrong and what's going on. So we go there that next morning, and again, I just remember, I don't even remember everything she said, because she was mostly talking to my husband. She couldn't talk to me because I was crying in a corner. But I just remember going there and waiting and just feeling exhausted but not able to sleep and just scared. That's all I remember, really. I just was scared. So I know my husband talked with her through that situation, got me back home. And I remember getting in bed and wanting to sleep. And I don't know really if what I heard is real. To be honest, I don't know. But he was on the phone with someone and they were telling him, this is where you can go. This is a facility I visited. I think, like I said, this part is a flash and hazy because at the point I didn't realize I was dissociated. So they recommended I go to a specific clinic. And so I think a couple days or a day later, I got checked into this clinic. And at first I was okay, or at least I was trying to convince myself I was okay. Because I was like, yeah, I'm going to go here and it's going to be fine. And I'm going to, talk to people and I'm going to find out what's wrong and we're going to be fine. I'm going to get home. Until I actually got there. And when I realized at that moment I was going to be separated from my husband, because I don't even think we were married at the time. I was going to be separated from Keenan. That's when everything just kind of went, like, just everything kind of blew up in my face, for lack of a better way of expressing that. I just felt alone. Like, that to me, I felt alone before, but that is a feeling of aloneness that I don't even know how to compare it to anything. You walk in a facility and you don't know anybody. Everybody's in there for the same reason you're in there. And yet you feel so isolated and you feel just completely alone. Just, that's the best word. You just feel alone. But I did manage to I say friends very loosely, but I did manage to make some friends while I was in there. I found ways to cope with my situation. They started giving me medications, and we were able to participate in different things like yoga and group activities. We could watch TV and hang out with each other. Even if you couldn't sleep, if you wanted to stay up all night, you could go into the comment area, and I would work puzzles. I would color, write, because they let you write there, so that was actually cool. I know some places don't let you have writing utensils, like especially I think they don't let you have pens, but they let me have pencils and crayons and stuff, so I was able to occupy my mind, basically is what I'm trying to say. I wasn't a big TV watcher anyway, so having those things was like, okay, cool, this is something I can kind of dive myself into, because I wasn't really into socializing at the time anyway. So I stayed there for 10 days, I want to say. I believe it was 10 days. And once I got out, I got back home. And I do want to say the worst part about that, because me and my husband, we weren't married at the time, but we were already engaged. One of the worst parts about that situation is they don't want you to wear personal jewelry or bring your phone or anything that's of value into the facility, because you have different types of people that are there. And somebody could have an illness where they are stealing things, or they believe that your stuff is theirs. I've actually gone through that. So to protect everyone and to just lessen the conflict, they basically have you leave your valuable possessions behind. And when I had to leave my ring behind, that is what shattered me. Because I was like, of all the things, I didn't care about leaving my phone. I didn't care about leaving anything else. But the fact that I couldn't have my ring, my one reminder of the person that is always there for me and always going to, the person that is reassuring me that I'm here, I'm real, and life is lifing. That was a pain. That was painful. That was really painful. So after those 10 days, I go home and realize, I really don't know anything right now. I'm now adjusting to realizing, because the psychiatrist there at the time, they first first of all, let me rewind a little bit, y'all. Sorry. When I went to the person to get the assessment, they are the ones that kind of give the initial diagnosis. That doesn't mean that you're going to get the actual diagnosis. So my initial diagnosis was major depressive disorder, which, as she put it, and I've heard another person put it, that's the first step into determining if you have something like bipolar disorder, or I think mood disorders in general. And so that was the first diagnosis, was major depressive disorder. And then they realized, thank you. Then they realized, okay, with further inspection, yes, you are dealing with major depressive, but your symptoms are more on depressive than they are anything else. So they do match with this that says bipolar disorder type 2. And then I realized the further along I went in my stay, the psychiatrist came to me again and was like, have you ever heard of borderline personality disorder? And I said, absolutely not. What is that? And so, he described to me what it was, and he recommended the book, I Hate You, Don't Leave Me, which is a book that is recommended to a lot of people when they are diagnosed with BPD or want to learn what BPD is from a more layman terms kind of personal perspective. So that so that was the thing that he said to me while I was there. Yes, I see the symptoms of bipolar type 2, and I also see the symptoms of borderline personality. So I'm going home after a 10-day stay and realizing, okay, I have these diagnoses, excuse me. What do I do now? How do I live with this? So fast forward, and I'm dealing with learning about the medications that go with it. Going through those ups and downs with that, because some of those medications made my symptoms worse. So I don't know if everybody's aware, but bipolar disorder is a chemical imbalance disorder and a mood disorder. So it causes the extremes, ups and downs. So you have hypomania or mania on one end of the spectrum, and you have depressional episodes on the other end of the spectrum. And so the medications that they put me on exacerbate that a lot. So because I do remember when I started Trileptal. Was it Trileptal was the first thing I took? I think it was. I think Trileptal was the first thing I took. And with that, it was, I guess, working, but at the same time, it was causing internal problems. Thank you, Cece. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Rian. I appreciate you. Yeah, I've seen wrong meds affect. Yes, exactly. So yeah, that medication was harmful to me internally. It wasn't, I'm not really sure what I can say about what it did for me mentally. I do know it just made me sleepy, but outside of that, I guess it regulated me a bit. But to be honest, they had me on Klonopin, which is an anxiety medication. But all that did was just make me more irritable, actually. It's kind of like a caffeine pill, I guess. And all it did was just rev me up even more. And I was already a revved up person anyway. So I didn't like that. I stopped taking it because it just made me feel like this all the time. Thank you. So there was that. And also I was taking, I know they tried to put me on, what was that antidepressant? I don't remember what it was. I was about to say Ambien. It's not Ambien. I forgot what it's called, but it's a little blue pill. Anyway, they tried to put me on antidepressants. Antidepressants do not work for me because I go into rage mode. I've noticed. Like, thank you. I legit, like, I'm the person, y'all seen in the movies, right? How, no, it wasn't Zoloft. It wasn't Zoloft. I think it was something with an A. I just can't remember what it's called. I don't feel like going in my closet to find the pills. But anyway, it wasn't Zoloft though. But, hold on, what was I finna say? Oh shoot, what was I gonna say? No, it wasn't Prozac. I don't remember what it was called. I just know it was an antidepressant, and I can't take antidepressants. But anyway, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So y'all seen it in the movies where when people are in the hospital and they're seeming like they're getting too rowdy or rambunctious and they need to calm them down quick, and they give them that shot in the butt. I got that shot in the butt. Yeah, that's a real thing. I got that shot in the butt because I was in a place where they gave Abilify. Thank you. That's it. This is why I love y'all. That's it. Abilify. Y'all, I'm allergic to it. I'm allergic to Abilify specifically. It gave me alligator skin. I was so upset. On top of the fact that antidepressants just anger me. They make me angry. They literally turn me into She-Hulk. It's terrible. So They and because of that, they gave me antidepressants while I was at the facility, and it just made me rage uncontrollably. I didn't take my anger out on anyone, but I told the doctor straight up, I said, I'm pissed off. I'm going to fight something. I need something because whatever you gave me is pissing me off. I'm mad at everything. I was going off, y'all. And so they were like, oh, so he was, oh, okay, well, we're going to do this. He was very gentle. He was a really great doctor. I think his name is Frank Chen. Yes. Dr. Frank Chen. He was awesome. No, that stuff is so bad. I feel for you. Oh my God. Yeah, it does suck. But yeah, he was very gentle and went through that. And so he was, I got the shot, and after a few minutes, he asked me, so how are you feeling now? And I was like, angry and sleepy. So needless to say, that's a real thing. I got that shot in the butt. But I learned that, yeah, antidepressants don't work on me and my system. And a few years later, I was changed over to Seroquel. My experience with Seroquel. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever heard people say when they take certain medications, they feel like a zombie. That's my experience with Seroquel. Seroquel slows your mind down so much, in my own experience, that you just don't have function. I could not function. I barely could get out of bed to go to the bathroom. I could barely go from one room to the next because it was so hard just even it was so hard on just even connecting one thought to the next. Just me saying, get up and go to the bathroom was a giant task for my brain to handle while on that medication. Vote no on body juice. LMAO. Luckily, I only had to take it that one time. I only got the shot that one time. But yeah, that Seroquel was a hell no for me. Cause dude, like I said, zombified. I couldn't do anything. I barely could figure out how to move my arm up and down, let alone just function as a normal human being. So there's that. Okay, what was the last thing I wanted to say? Oh, booty I forgot that's what it was called. That's funny. Thank you. Booty juice. Let's see, where else was I going to go to? Okay, so after Seroquel, I was prescribed Depakote. So Depakote was okay. That actually worked pretty well for me. But it did get to a point where they had to up the dose on me. And it even got to a point where they were going to up the dose even more. And I was like, yeah, nah. So actually, I want to rewind a little bit. So before my Depakote, before being prescribed Depakote, I went to the I would just say psych ward, mental hospital facility. I went for a second time, but I went to a different place. Those who are in Houston already know. I went to Harris Health. So, through way of Ben Taub. If you're in Houston, you already know I'm not going to say any more words. But yes, I went to that facility, and the nurses were great. Everybody there was cool. However, I did experience some very funny situations. Number one, I knew better, but I had a bag of clothes, and I only came in with one outfit. And I wanted to get my clothes washed. And they had something I could change into. So and I changed it to my clothes, changed it to those other clothes, and they took my stuff to wash. And they actually gave me my stuff back, had a bag with my name on it. Now, this is where I messed up. I ended up leaving my bag in the community area because I don't know what it was, if I was distracted or I just forgot. I don't know why, but I left my bag in a community area. So we went outside, or we had went to do recreation or something like that. So when I came back upstairs, I remembered my bag was on the table, but then I didn't see my bag. And so I was like, let me check my room and just make sure that, so I didn't leave it in the room. And no, it wasn't in the room. So I'm like, I can't find my bag. Now, there was a lady that was there, and I'm only laughing because I don't want to be stereotypical. I'm not trying to, place this on her, but this is what she was there for. A part of, I don't know exactly what she dealt with, but she definitely dealt with hallucinations and a bit of kleptomania. So she was already accused of taking someone else's stuff before, a few days before, I think. And so when I think I had saw that she had something of mine, that she's had something that looked like mine. So I was like, okay. And so I just asked the nurse politely, I said, would you mind asking this lady if she happens to have my bag? I'm not trying to accuse her of anything, but I just want to check and see if she may have it. So they go to her room and they check with her and they say, hey, did you take a bag off a table? Y'all, she comes out of her room. She's wearing my shirt. And everybody knows it's my shirt because I came in wearing that shirt. It was a Christmas Nickelodeon characters type shirt. Literally, nobody else had that shirt but me. So we all knew it was mine. So she comes out of the room wearing my shirt, and they're like, where did you get that shirt from? She was like, it's mine. And they were like, we don't think it is. And she was like, no, it's mine. It's mine. So they look at the bag and say, let me see the bag on your bed. And sure enough, it's the bag with my name on it. And all my stuff in there has my name on it, by the way. So she's like, so she's trying to convince them, no, this is mine. This was mine. Why are you taking my stuff? This was brought for me. And I'm not laughing at her or her situation mentally. I'm not laughing at her at all. I'm laughing at the situation in general. That, I'm just like, it would be me to be the one in this situation. So, like I said, the laugh has nothing to do with her, and it's no criticism to her as where she is mentally. I'm laughing more on my side and my situation and the fact that I put myself here. But, okay, so that's one story. The other side of it was that like I said, I went to the psych ward a second time because the hallucinations came back and I was starting to have these out of body experiences to where I was actively attacking myself in my sleep. That night or that morning that I went to the hospital, the only thing I really remember is I was choking myself. So again, I'm sorry, y'all. This is a trigger warning throughout video. If you're new into the video, but it's a trigger warning throughout. I'm talking about if you're new and you just came in and you don't know what's going on. Hey, welcome. And I'm discussing my mental health story, my diagnosis story is what I should say. And just basically how I got to this point, I guess you can say, like, what were the things that said, yeah, you need to go get checked out. You have a mental illness, and, just the aftermath of that to just catch you up a little bit. So with that, so the second side of that story in that hospital is that, like I said, I was having these out of body experiences. I was choking myself. I was actively hurting myself in my sleep. And I was seeing things and hearing things and feeling things. So it was a lot. It was a sensory overload, to say the least, especially when the thing isn't even there. So I told my husband, I gotta go. I gotta go back. I gotta do something because this is not, I can't, like, I'm at a point where I'm really gonna hurt myself. I think we should go. And I don't even have, that's the scariest part too. I didn't even have control over it. I was doing this in my sleep. So we go to the hospital. I get checked in, stay the night, get over there, da 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 da. And this was around the time that I also suspected that I was having like DID or dissociative identity disorder issues. I felt as if I was developing an alter or alters, which briefly in DID or dissociative identity disorder, which is, it used to be called multiple personality disorder. So DID deals with a person experiencing, and you already know Scarlet system. I'm gonna explain this the best way I can. That a person does not have an integrated identity, and whenever there are triggering situations for them, they become a different person. They become a completely different identity. Within the same body. These are different people. They could be different ages. They could be different genders. They can even be different species. It all depends on what the host needs at the time of the trigger and at the time of the incident, that they become these other entities. And so I'm going to acknowledge that. And so with that, I was experiencing these moments where I felt as if I was developing that. I was hearing other voices in my head. I was hearing Stephanie. I was hearing James. I was hearing Annie loud. I think I talked about Annie before on a previous live. To bring you up to speed, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Annie is this little Asian girl who wears all pink and has a teddy bear, but is very angry and very loud. And I don't know why that is a thing that was created in my mind, but that's who she is, and that's where that's there. And so I'm hearing her. I'm hearing all these different things. I'm seeing all these different things. And I just got to a point that I'm like, I need to get this checked out, because I don't know if this is real for me or not. Like, what am I experiencing here? So, go there and I get all this speculations out the way. And I go into this room with these doctors who are supposed to be assessing me. And I'm going to say something that I do not by any means intend to be offensive, that I do not by any means intend to be negative towards anyone of any race or nationality. This is my personal experience in this situation. I'm not saying this towards anybody specifically, just this person. So like I said, I'm in this facility and I go into the room to be assessed, and there's these 3 doctors. I don't remember it. I think one of the doctors might have been black, but I don't really remember. I only remember these 2 specific doctors. I do remember it was 3 doctors. I just don't remember the other one. But these 2 specific doctors, it was a man and a woman. The man, both of them were not from this country. I'm in America. I'm in Texas. And both of them were not from this country. I'm speculating she was Russian or from that region. And again, like I said, I say this not to be disrespectful to anyone. This is my understanding. I believe she was Russian. And I can't remember exactly how his accent was. I just remember hers specifically. But they still had very heavy, very thick accents. So you could tell they were not born here, is what I'm basically trying to say. They weren't born American. And so I am listening to these people asking me questions. And they're like, okay, so what is it that you're experiencing? What are you feeling? What are you going through? And then they start asking me about medications. And they go down the list. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? I've tried that. I've taken that. That made me bleed. That made me go crazy. That makes me a zombie. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. We're going down the line. And eventually the woman is, again, this is not anything towards anyone specifically, racially or otherwise. But for where my mind was, it was a terrifying experience. And it just reminds me of those scenes in horror. It reminded me of a scene in a horror movie. That's what scared me the most. So I'll finally explain it. But basically, the lady, the doctor, she is a tall, pale skin, porcelain skin woman, actually. And I think she had red hair. And she's wearing all red, first of all. Tall, porcelain skin, red lipstick, red dress, red pumps, and like strawberry blonde, reddish hair. She looks like the assistant to every villain in every movie. And so I'm not gonna lie, I was a little terrified, especially in the state that I was in. And so they're offering me all these different solutions, as far as medicine is concerned. And I keep telling them all no, 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 and no, because I'm telling them all the negative effects that I've had. And she just randomly says, "What about electroshock therapy?" But she says it in her accent. Now, yeah, like I said, I want y'all to think about every horror movie you've seen where there is a villain and he has his hot Russian assistant or hot foreign assistant. Imagine that. That's exactly what it felt like for me in that situation. I legitimately felt like Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out. That scene where he's like getting hypnotized, he's in front of the TV and sinks into the couch. I felt like I was in a scene of one of those movies at that very moment, and I was terrified. And yes, I'm surprised that they still offer electroshock therapy in, at the time, 2022. No, 2021. I was very surprised, and they still do to this day. And I just remember looking at her and I said, well, I'm not going to say it, but I basically told her, no, y'all not finna shock my brains. You crazy? Well, I don't like saying that word, but you know what I mean. So it was one of those situations, but I've come to learn that my initial reason for going back to the psych ward in the first place, well, the two reasons: one, to stop attacking myself, and two, because I wanted to know if I was actually exhibiting these symptoms of this particular diagnosis. I've learned that in BPD and in bipolar, you can experience alter-like states and alter-like situations. You don't exactly. So, and I remember I described this very briefly in a previous video as well, that you have splitting in BPD, which is the difference between seeing a person as a very high and angelic figure versus a demonic and terrible individual. And then splitting in DID is where you're going from one state to the next, so one persona to the other. And even within BPD, so as far as my studies have shown, you can also split. And I've explained that too, that I did experience a moment of splitting from myself, but I believe it's more considered just dissociation or depersonalization. Is it depersonalization? I may be wrong. I'm sorry. Thank you, Chanel. Excuse me. But yeah, I think it's more of depersonalization and dissociation, what I went through, because in my experience, in my situation, I break away from myself, and it's like I can see myself as things are going on. So y'all, if y'all haven't checked it out, definitely go look at my other video where I explain my BPD episode that I had recently, because it's exactly the same thing. Basically, I go into a state of where, if you've seen Black Mirror, that episode of Black Mirror where the it's a mother and a father and they have a baby, and the mother, I think she dies in childbirth or she dies early on, gets sick, and instead of her soul resting, she places her soul inside of a teddy bear, and she's able to see life through this inanimate object, basically. But it's like everything you see is like on a movie screen, or better yet, it's like Inside Out, how the emotions are inside your brain and they can see everything through your eyes like a movie screen. That's what it looks like for me when I dissociate or when I go through depersonalization. So, with that, I'm sorry, I don't remember where I was going with that. Anyway, it'll come back to me. I do need to take a breath though, and acknowledge also, Chanel said, I admire you for sharing your story. You are so brave and you're a strong queen. I appreciate you so much for that. Thank you. Really. Thank you. But, and yeah, I would have been terrified too. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, it's basically like when I go through, I think I was saying what I go through is basically dealing with trying to determine whether or not it was BPD or DID in that situation. So, yes, that was my point. Sorry. So, yeah, with BPD, you go through those moments where it feels as if you are breaking into an altered state because you don't you're not yourself at that moment. You're outside. For me, I'm outside of myself. I legitimately feel as if, I can't remember what movie that was, but it's some cartoon or a movie where somebody hits the character in their stomach and it literally knocks their soul out of them, and their soul is just watching them move around. That's how it feels for me. It's like my whole body goes like that, and I'm just floating above myself, just witnessing everything. And then it's like I step back into myself, and then it's kind of like, okay, what actually happened? So, like I said with my previous episode, what I do remember is just being a little child. I do remember being a child, and I do remember when I came back, I was like, okay, so what happened? And for me, it's a hazy feeling. It like I said, it does feel like I'm lucid dreaming. It feels like when you're right in between that waking state, that groggy feeling where you're still half sleep, but you're kind of aware of what's going on. That's how I really felt. That's how it feels, rather, every time I come out of that state. Okay, now I'm trying to remember where else I want to go with this conversation to. And I appreciate everybody's loving words because it's very helpful. Like I say, I'm going off the dome, and that's a very dangerous thing for me because my brain already has no idea who it wants to be on what particular day. So I'm taking a risk today. I'm just winging it. I'm going for it. Eh? So, but regardless of that, just to kind of recap a little bit, yes, I went through the experience of the psychiatric ward twice. Once was not that bad of a situation. It was actually kind of ideal for being in that situation for the very first time and not knowing what to do and not knowing how to feel and what to expect. But let me tell you what the worst part about staying in both of those facilities was. Ain't nothing worse, and I mean this when I say ain't nothing worse than being at your worst and going through something and you see somebody I was dead inside. And not only, and it didn't just happen the first time, it happened both times I went. I was like, are you serious right now? And these are people, not only that, these are people that I was actually kind of close with. Like, I did activities in school with them. You know what I mean? Like, I was in choir with one of them. I was on I was in the band with another. That was crazy for me. I was like, really? Both times? Oh, wow. So there was that. Um and I'm trying to see if there's anything else I need to mention to you guys before we kind of go into a little celebration before I peace out on you. Oh, yes. For as far as I could say, yes, that's pretty much my diagnosis story. And I hope that with what I've shared, it was clear enough to give you kind of an example of what I experienced and how it started for me. Um, and I guess to end that, how I'm progressing with that. Like I said, I just had an episode recently. I go through this. I go through my ups and downs a lot. But what I'm grateful for at the end of it all is I have learned the true definition of healing in these situations. The true definition of healing is not getting over something where you feel as if it's no longer affecting you and it's completely dead to you to the point where you don't even think about it no more. Nothing about it is a thing to you anymore. That's not what healing is. I've learned healing is still being affected by those things, but it depends on how you respond to it. Healing is your response to the trauma as it continues to come up in your life. Because let's be honest, trauma never ends. Trauma never ends. You're all right, Pooh. Welcome in. Yeah, trauma never ends. You're always going to experience it. Something is going to trigger you. Something is going to upset you. Something is going to affect you. And your symptoms will probably always be symptoms. Your experiences will probably always be your experiences. But what healing does is teaches you how to grow from those things. Healing shows you this is still a constant thing, but how I would have reacted, like I said earlier, how I would have reacted to the news I got yesterday, last year, completely different to what I actually did this year. Again, last year, pain, self-inflicted pain. This year, I cry, I accept, and I allow. I cry about it to get those feelings out and to admit to myself it hurts. I accept it and take accountability for my part. That was the main thing. Taking accountability for my part. And allow myself the fact that I can accept this, but this is going to hurt me for a couple more days. I'm going to be in pain for a couple more days about this. And I'm speaking in reality. Like, this is not just me speaking hypothetically. This is me speaking for real. I'm going to be in pain about this for a few days. It's really, really, really hurts. Guilt for me really, really hurts. So I'm going to be dealing with this for a little bit, but I'm allowing myself to realize that. I'm allowing myself to have that and let those emotions be what they are. I'm allowing them to exist. So that's what I have learned healing is. It's just allowing it to exist, but to respond to it differently than you would have previously. Let me read this comment, and then I'm going to show y'all something that I'm happy about. Also, facts. Healing is never linear, and there is no one way to go about it. And OMG, the trauma never goes away. It just reduces. Thank you for that, Corey. I appreciate you, Pooh. Sorry. Thank you for that, pal. I appreciate you, Pooh. She already fussed at me about that. Anyway, but yeah, y'all. So I do want to say thank you for joining me for that conversation. Like I said, that's something I wanted to share with everyone because, again, a lot of people may be going through something similar. And I say that because, and not to call anybody out, but I had a couple of conversations in the past couple of weeks with some people. And because of me sharing my story, people reached out still and were like, I saw your video. I did not realize you were going through the same thing I'm going through. And I'm starting to feel that, or I've been through that. I didn't realize that there was a way to get over this. I just get these beautiful messages from all these different people, and I appreciate it so much. I really do. I do my very best to try to reach out and converse with as many people as I can and be as supportive as I can. But I just want everybody to know I'm human. I suffer and I struggle and I go through stuff. I do my very best to be as attentive as I can, but at the end of the day, please allow me to be a human and allow me to make mistakes and mess up and try to rectify them later. But yeah, with that, I share with people these instances, and it's wonderful. And sorry, I had a moment. Yeah, like I said, I'm a little emotional too. Um, I'm a little emotional because, again, I was not expecting to have a 35th birthday. And I was not expecting myself to be sitting here with my sunflowers on my birthday, sharing this story and continuously sharing stories with people. I'm a little overwhelmed with emotion for a good reason. I'm very happy. Very happy. It's weird, but I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. Anyway, yeah, I got off topic. I'm sorry. Hold on. I gotta pause. Because can y'all still see the stream? Oh, wow. Can y'all still hear me? Mm-mm. Okay, can't see, can't hear.